Live on the group. Yo, what it do? What it do?
I hate that I'm looking down at that camera. What?
I can check it here.
Yeah, I just got a notification.
I've only got 20% as well, but I'll pull it up. You know, I don't want to talk about it. It's not my fault.
Look, I was on the phone all day calling people. All day, literally. So that's my excuse.
So, dark technology, huh? Dark technology.
Ooh, my cord needs to be like longer, guys. I'm gonna kick it. Ooh,
Earthquake.
danger. All right.
Earthquake.
We good.
All right. So the dark technology, otherwise known as Lucifer's technology, right?
Okay.
Have you heard of this before? Come on.
No, I've heard of. There's something that was named Lucifer. Some technology that was named Lucifer.
Yeah, the Vatican telescope.
Oh, is that what it was?
Right,
Okay.
yeah, which is weird.
I don't know why this won't stay. I'm sorry.
It
won't stay.
That's its own thing though. The Vatican telescope, Lucifer, right? So the dark technology thing is the idea that not all technology, some technology was used and created by entities or demons, right? Whatever word you want to put on the demons, right?
Yeah.
That they somehow create the technology, the AI technology, right?
So are these like in human form?
So that's where it gets super deep, and I want to get to that.
Okay.
But we gotta
First, have you heard about those sneakers?
Yes, Lil Nas.
What are your thoughts on those sneakers? It's just crazy.
Who cares? First of all, it wasn't. They're not legit. It's not like Nike's putting out these sneakers.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
No. It is interesting though, right? But I mean, that's kind of the dude's persona, his musical persona. I mean, I sent the link to him.
I had no idea. I mean, I've only heard that like Old Town Road song, and I thought, I didn't think he was like, I'm gonna make some Satan worshipping shoes.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just strange.
It's his shtick, man.
And then it's like, sorry, I'm trying not to, but it keeps falling. It's just like, with everything that's being like canceled, and we can't do Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss, and then it's like, but then these shoes are fine. It's just,
that's the
what
thing.
is going on?
Okay, look, here's the thing, right? And you and I talked about this. There's a problem for sure with the shit that comes out of like a lot of pop culture and media, right? That like a lot of people just don't agree with for moral reasons, right?
Yeah, right.
And whether you want to agree with that or not doesn't fucking matter. That's just the case, right? There are kids that watch shit whether they're meant to or not, and some of the shit is just gross, right?
Yeah.
We all know that. And even if you wanted to sit here and deny it and be like, oh, it's art or the kids shouldn't watch it, like I get those arguments, but at the same time, like we all know it's probably not the most like appropriate thing for our culture to be like growing on.
Yeah.
However, live and let live, right? This is America. If you want to put out a piece of art that does this, or if you want to put out WAP, as a song, go ahead, dude. Like the people bitching about it is not really any better than the people putting the stuff out. Like if there's other artists that put out stuff that's super PG and clean and all that, and like people can go to those places and get that.
And I get that part.
You know what I mean?
But so you don't think there's any bigger picture to that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's some...
Like a bigger purpose.
I don't know if there's
somebody's doing it for a reason.
Right.
More than just that's his image.
Yeah. I would say that those things are going to happen no matter what, and that there are people who attach to it because it is what it is. I don't necessarily think that like they, right, like the controllers, the ones that we always talk about, I don't think that they are making like the Satan Nike shoe thing become like this cultural battle or whatever. Like, I think that that's going to happen because people do things, right, for artistic expression, if you want to say, right? And then sure, there are other secret societies, you know, people who believe in certain occult magics that will attach themselves to things, right? Same as like if a bomb goes off somewhere, of course ISIS comes up and they're like, we did that. We are the ones who did that. And it's like, and then we all know at this point now, it's like, yeah, sure it was. Let's look at the evidence and figure out if ISIS really blew it up or if they're just taking credit for it like they always do.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a level of that where like, sure, the Satan shoes, and it's like, oh my God, look the fucking, and it's like,
yeah, I was just wondering, like, is it a distraction of sorts, or is it just some guy, you know, like putting out these shoes, or is it some bigger thing that's meant to be some distraction?
It's him just doing his thing. It's also a distraction, and it's also people co-opting it to make it something more than it's not.
He didn't make the shoe. He also didn't write the song. He also didn't write the music video. It's like
it's just a charade. It's all theater, you know. So
just the image.
But so the dark technology, you know, is the idea that the technology is killing our humanity, right? And essentially creating hosts for these dark entities, these demons or these interdimensional psychic vampires, whatever you want to call them, that the technology is just a way for them to create hosts.
Okay, so like what technology would do that?
Perfect. Artificial intelligent technology, I would say. Now, there's different people with different theories on the Lucifer's technology idea. My personal idea is that the artificial intelligence and the quantum computing mixed with scientism, right?
Okay.
There's your triangle. Like those three things. Scientism. What else did I just say? You weren't even paying attention.
No, I was but I'm thinking things while you're talking.
Yeah, I was spitting shit out. I don't even know what I said.
I had a question that I'm trying to not forget. My brain, it doesn't work well thinking about more than one thing at a time.
That's good stuff. But yeah, I mean...
What's worse is that you forgot it.
Oh, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence.
Quantum computing. Got it. I just needed a little trigger. There you go.
Right. And we know what the first two things are, right? We know what artificial intelligence is and quantum computing is. Kind of. We think we know what that is.
Yeah.
What is scientism, right? We've talked about the religion of science, right? That's what scientism is. It's like, you know, you could take science and you can pervert it and twist it and then claim that this is the all being end all for whatever the question is that you're using scientism for. It's not real science, and there's a lot of that right now, right?
Yeah.
So, one of the ideas, and prominent people like Elon Musk, you know, like other tech giant people, I can't remember the Indian guy's name who's like a Bitcoin billionaire. He's like a tech dude. He's done talks. There's been talks on TED Talks and other places where these smart ass people, right, come and they talk about artificial intelligence, right? And
did that sound like a gun or no?
Nah, it sounded like a piece of wood. Do you have an acoustic guitar in there that got banged around?
No, that was outside for sure.
Oh. Yeah, who knows what it was?
Meth lab.
Meth lab exploded. What was I saying?
I swear the guy next door.
Okay, yeah, TED Talks.
Anyways,
actual smart people, right, have, you know, hypothesized that the artificial intelligence is actually so advanced in the future that it's somehow pulling the timeline towards itself to build itself, right? To take over the universe, I guess. I'm not really sure I fully understand, but like that's the idea, that in the future, the artificial intelligence is so good that it's, pulling time forward. Like it somehow has figured out a way to manipulate time. And it's pulling time forward to have it self-created. Okay. Now, remember what we've talked about and what most religions talk about. It's the spirit versus the matter, right? God versus Satan. It's like the etheric versus the material. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the artificial intelligence being the material, and then the spirit or the God or whatever being the natural state of existence, right?
Right.
And essentially that this is going to destroy all organic life. And this is not me saying this. Again, this is top level people who are in these fields that hypothesize that this could happen with artificial intelligence if unchecked. And then there's other talks where these same people will talk about how we don't even know how many civilizations in the universe have been taken over by artificial intelligence already. Could be 1 billion ultra advanced, right? Type 5 civilizations. Some people will know what that means. I'm not going to get into it. Type 5 civilizations could have already been conquered by artificial intelligence and could be, taking over their local sectors of space, if you believe space is real.
I love how you always say that.
What?
If space is real.
Question everything.
But
That's going to be our next shirt. Question everything. Our first shirt, next shirt.
Yeah, we need a first one first.
Whatever. It's going to be a shirt.
Jeffrey.
Question everything. That's probably already 1,000 shirts, but
Nah, I've never seen it.
ours
so
is
it
going to
doesn't
have
exist.
a tag that says
I haven't seen it, so it doesn't exist. Oh my gosh. Okay, so side note, sort of, because when you started talking about all this, it made me think about this girl that I work with. She told me that she had to get like a rental car from a car place that she has. Her car was getting fixed, and she told me they put her in like the newest car. And she's like, oh, I'm just loving it. It's so nice and so like technologically advanced. She said that this car has, I forget what she called it, but basically if she looks away from the road, it tells her to put her eyes back on the road.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me.
Why?
Because that car is looking into your eyes.
Okay, wait. You think that that's new technology?
No. I just never thought that that's something that would be so accessible. Like the fact
Right.
that your car is watching you that intensely freaks me out.
Okay, check this out. So in 2010, no, it was 2011, I was working for an SEO company doing sales, right? We were selling website packages and all kinds of stuff, right? To businesses. And one of our little pieces to use as a sales pitch was like, here's how we know where people are looking when they search a business on Google. They look up, podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not a good example. Restaurant near me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom, restaurants come up. There's a way that they can tell where you look, and that's because the camera looks at your pupil and it determines where it goes. In 2010 or 11,
On
I
your
was
phone
using this,
or your computer?
Yeah, phone, computer, smart TV.
So they can see which one caught your eye first
100%.
or something like that?
When you're scrolling through any social media, this goes for anything, on Facebook right now, as
Yeah.
you're scrolling on Facebook, it's tracking your pupils and it's determining where you're looking the most. It's determining how much of the sentence you actually read. And that might sound insane, but that's happening. And it's been happening
I mean,
since
I
the dawn
believe
of-
it, but it's just, yeah, it's like mind-blowing because it's just like, yeah, you already,
Right.
everyone already jokes, oh, my phone's listening to me,
No, it's not
that's
just listening
why,
to you, it's literally watching your
yeah,
pupils.
that's a little more freaky,
And
like
not only
to me
that,
at least,
it's
like it's looking
determining-
back at me.
It's not just watching where your pupils are looking, but it's watching the pupil dilation and other things as well. It's
So you
determining...
can see like how excited you got by
Exactly.
something that you saw.
100%.
Like that's so crazy.
That's exactly how they know what to advertise to you, how,
yeah, that's
when.
weird. That's because then that's the thing is like when you're like, I never said this out loud, and they still know that I was thinking that I wanted that, right?
Here's the thing.
That means that
Does that mean you saw it somewhere and your phone saw you notice it
Mm-hmm.
for a second
you looked
or
at
something.
you looked at it for 2 seconds longer
But you didn't
than
click
normal,
into it. You didn't,
and your pupils
and now it
dilated,
knows
and
that
it
you
registered a
liked it.
dopamine
That's
hit.
crazy.
Exactly.
Because, like, that's the thing is, like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, my phones are listening. And then they're like, but I never said this out loud. I never searched for it. I never blah, blah, blah. But I'm still getting ads for it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
They know
that
everything.
freaks me out more than thinking that it's listening to me, honestly.
Here's the thing, right? That would not be possible for places like Google and Facebook and all these tech companies. It wouldn't be possible for them to do that legally had it not been for the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act made it legal to collect data under the pretense of national security. There's a reason that these big, giant social media networks have ties with the federal government. Not just our federal government, but governments around the entire planet. There's a reason that tax dollars, your and my money, goes to big tech social media, and there's a reason that they play ball with each other. Is because the government, though it's legal for them to collect and all of this with the data, it's much easier for them to allow a company to do it that they have backdoor access to get the info.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that the government is spying on us all the time. It's the tech companies are spying on you all the time for advertising dollars, which they are. That's how they get huge.
Right.
But that data also gets sold, if you want to look at it that way, to the government for tax dollars.
Right.
That's why Tom from MySpace is gone. Where's Tom?
Tom's from MySpace or Facebook?
Tom was
I think
MySpace.
he's Facebook.
Tom was MySpace.
Why am I picturing him on Facebook?
He was your first friend on MySpace.
I think he's my first friend on Facebook.
Tom from MySpace. Here's
he
the
still
thing.
my friend?
We should all write Tom a letter and tell him how much we appreciate him, because Tom turned away the CIA when they came knocking on MySpace's door and say, hey, we want the data. All the data that MySpace had collected from all the profiles and all that, the messages and shit. And Tom said, no, that's a firework.
Fireworks.
Tom said no. Okay? Tom said no. And guess what happened to MySpace? It hit the dirt, man.
They made Facebook.
You know what I'm saying? So
Replaced.
And that's a whole nother
Canceled.
conspiracy. I'm going to get back to the dark technology, okay?
Well, I had one question.
Okay, go for it.
This is a random thought. Maybe it means nothing. But do you think that if they have this technology where they can look so much into our eyes that they can, like, somehow send information through our eyes? Like, you know how they say, like, your eyes are the window to your soul?
100%.
I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
No,
but
I think that's
just
a good
really
thought.
freaks me out.
I would say that is definitely possible.
Like subliminal messages type things just from...
I mean, that's what the symbols are.
If they can, like, take so much information from just your eyes, like, why couldn't they put information that you don't realize you're seeing?
Well, that's what the symbols are. That's what we talked about that as well, me and him. That's what the symbols are, right? The pentagrams, all right? If you know the meaning it is, right, you understand that it has, like, energies attached to the symbols.
Well, I mean, like, stuff that you don't even realize you're seeing or...
Right, so...
I don't know.
Facebook, they have these neuroscientists, and they have ways to make sure that your screen time stays up, right? The blue that they use is the perfect blue to keep you attached. The way that the thing scrolls, and the way that you pull down like a slot machine to refresh it, and all these, every little detail that they put into it is what you're saying. They're putting the information through your eyeballs to trick your brain into keeping you onto the thing longer. Now, are they feeding you more information? Probably.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be? Why not? If you could, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like they're sending, stuff that you're not registering visually, but is there. Because,
it's possible.
I bet you
It's
somebody
possible.
out there's researching infrared messaging.
Well, maybe we need to do it now.
I'm sure it is. I've never looked into it.
Just in case it's not.
But so the technology, right? And it's hard to, like, say this because there's always, like, people who are just too stupid to think, like, three-dimensionally about something, right? You'll say something and they'll be like, you hate all of that, right? You're anti-vaxxer. And it's like, no, I'm just, I'm skeptical about certain things, right?
Yeah.
I can have questions and deep thoughts about something without jumping to immediate conclusions and encompassing an entire thing, right? So the technology is killing us, right? You say that, people will be like, "What? You're fucking retarded." There's a lot of technology that's great, right? Don't get me wrong. I mean, we all use the technology. I'm not one to say that we should all be living like it's colonial era times. Like, no, I'm thinking like certain technologies, the social media type stuff, like certain tracking technologies, geoengineering technologies, frequency manipulation, GMO technologies, DNA manipulation, genetic modification, 5G millimeter wave technologies.
Well, all of that plus, I mean, just in my mind, the basic way that it's killing us is that we rely on it all so much. You know what I mean? Like that time I was telling you guys about way back when we had no internet, for a couple hours, we were like lost. I was like, how do you even function in the world? It makes you so reliant on the internet and all of this stuff, this technology, just to even do basic things, It's in that sense, it's just in the most basic sense to me that
it's destroying our humanity.
It's just destroying your
when
abilities to be an individual.
Yeah, if the internet shut off tomorrow. Oh yeah, if they just shut your personal right off.
Not doing what we want. Yours.
Yeah, 1984.
Oh, they're probably going to do that soon.
Okay, well here's the thing.
I think they're slowing my internet down.
That's the whole point. Here's the whole point, right? Now you talk to any hippie, any new ager, anybody who's spiritual or like a devout religious person in whatever religion they believe in, what's one thing that a lot of them have in common? It's a more naturalistic way of living, right? They all believe in less of the technology bullshit and more of like a natural state of being, right? Interact with the earth, bro, right?
Yeah.
Increase your vibrations, man, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, take your shoes off, bro, and ground. Like, there's things, right, that are not technological that are better for you than the technology. However brilliant and convenient the technology makes for us.
That's what it is. It's the convenient part.
The
it's not necessarily good for us in any real way, shape, or form. I mean, it helps us to know more things, I guess, have access to know more things. But what does it really do for us?
Here's a thing.
Other than that.
Perfect example, right? Apple products, right? You can't even use wired earplugs with the new iPhone. You have to get the wireless earbuds, the Bluetooth earbuds. Now, I'm not going to go as far to say that the people at Apple are conspiring to kill you with the millimeter wave shit that we've talked about.
I didn't even think about that because I have the new iPhone. I just got it. That's why my stupid phone keeps going to 5G.
Okay, now listen, hold on.
They don't give you headphones.
You have to use
in your thing anymore.
Right.
They used to give you
I'm not
plug-in
gonna
headphones.
say that they're conspiring to use the technology to depopulate you. Some conspiracy theorists will take it that far and they'll say Apple's in on killing us. Here's the proof.
Well, maybe they're not in on it, but they're not against it.
They're not against it because there's profit involved. Now, here's something that all of my liberal friends should jump on board with here, right? Because they're all like anti-crony capitalism, right? And all this bullshit. And I agree. You know what I'm saying? There is a huge problem with there's more incentive to make profits than there is to make safe products and long-lasting products.
Right.
The video I posted today in the group was about the light bulb, right? And he was like, this light bulb's been on for over 100 years. Why? Because it was made before the shenanigans that went down where they purposely made light bulbs less efficient to boost sales.
Yeah.
Right? And that affects all of us forever. Just something that small. Like we could have had everlasting light bulbs since the beginning of light bulbs. And instead, there's been trillions of dollars spent on light bulbs from all of us. You see what I'm saying? So like, and it goes the same with the Apple products. Now, they're only making it wireless earbuds because A, that's trending. B, it's going to up the sales. You have to buy it. You know, and they're just working on more profits. Now, real scientists, not scientism or pseudoscientists, real scientists, plenty of them, will go to places like Apple and argue, why are you doing this? Like there's health risks, and they don't stop doing it because, you know, the profits are there. And guess what? They got enough money to take it to court, and they'll pay out of court. In 10 years, when all this class action lawsuits come out about the wireless earbuds, you know, they're going to pay out. It's going to be big news. Apple and all these companies, they pay out $200 billion for, you know, whatever damages to people's brains from all this shit. And to them, it's going to be nothing. It's going to be a drop in the bucket from all the money that they've made. So they don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that goes for everything across the spectrum. The dark technology, you know, again, whether you believe that it's the entities manipulating. Here's what I think. I think that the dark entities, the interdimensional psychic vampires, the demons, they, right? I'm going to try to put as many words on them as possible.
Like, it makes it comical when you say it like that.
I want to, because there's people who don't believe in demons,
yeah.
but they believe in
no,
one
I
thing
get
or the
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I want to make sure that everybody gets the point, right?
Yeah.
Like these beings,
whatever word you associate with that,
right? These
slap that on there.
beings,
That's what we're talking about.
I think what happens is a few of them are here, you know, in our dimension, however you want to
Okay, I thought you meant like
perceive
in
it.
this room. I'm
No,
like,
no, like
get me out of here.
There's a few powerful ones.
That stuff freaks me out.
There's a
Okay.
few powerful ones that can
Yeah.
interact in our dimension.
Sure.
Right?
Believe it.
And those few powerful ones have taken control of or possessed certain people throughout our history to make certain things happen, right? And one of those things was to create certain technology, certain microchip or whatever, certain coding. I don't know. Maybe it was people in the coding and the software industry that coded certain things, and like those pieces of code, like that was all that was needed to be in this real world, right? For other entities to be able to attach to this realm, because this code exists now in whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard. I don't know. It's hard for me to articulate, but
yeah, makes sense.
And I think that those entities are just making more hosts for more entities, right? Call it a spiritual war if you want.
Okay, so when you say a host, you mean like go more in depth on how you think what
Somebody would be a
happens to
host.
somebody to make them a host.
Sure. So whether you're religious or not, we all know that there's certain things that make you like a good person, the golden rule shit, right? That all religions pretty much abide by. You know, you don't do harm to other people.
Yeah.
You don't fucking lie to people. You just good karma, right? Fill your karma cup, right? That kind of thing. We all know what bad karma is. And, you know, I just, I don't know, I lost my train of thought. What was the exact question again? What makes you a good host is the bad karma.
Yeah, what happens
the
to
negative
you
karma.
to become a host?
If you're a shitty human, if you're a sinner, or your karma cup is empty, right? However you want to look at it.
Bad people.
You are. I'm not going to say that you're a host, but I'm going to say that at that stage,
because you wouldn't fight it.
Your low vibrations make you susceptible to becoming a host.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Biblically, I believe that.
Sure.
Because it's like, I know, like, I always was so scared of, like, scary movies all the time, you know, and when I lived with his parents, his dad would tell me, like, you don't need to be scared of any of that because you're a believer, you're a follower of Christ, like, you're protected from, like, demonic stuff, like, it's in the Bible.
So to run
so
off
that makes sense to me just off of that
to run
whole
off
thing.
of that, right? That
people
idea.
who aren't
right.
would be susceptible to demons and things like that.
Right. To run off that idea, and some people may not agree with this in particular, right? Protection, right? Religious people will use their religion as a form of protection, right? New Age people will use like a crystal, or they'll burn a certain, you know, Palo Santo wood or something for protection, or
sage.
Right. You know what I mean? So like, that's real, you know, and the energy is, I think, that you put out. Let's say while you're praying, right, and you're looking at the cross and you're praying and you're putting that energy, that positive, high vibrational energy out into the universe, right, is the same exact frequency and energy as when I sit in my house and I light my Palo Santo wood right? And I just kind of like, I wouldn't use the word meditate because I'm not that deep, but like sit there and just like try to think and just not do shit for 10 minutes, right? Those two things that we're doing is like the same high vibrational frequency that we're putting out, right? All the low vibrational frequency shit, right? The arguing and the bitching about who's right and who's wrong and the fucking just the negative shit that's always pumped in front of us, right? All of that is food for the negative vibrations
Yeah.
that these that these psychic vampires feed on, right? You know what I mean? So you give them enough of that food, they're going to use you as a host to consume this negative energy. You know what I'm saying? And now all you're doing is putting out negativity. You ever have somebody like your friend or somebody you work with who's just always in a negative mood? You tell them how you doing this morning, and they're always like, "Fuck this! I don't want to be here today. Like this fucking job, I need a fucking like it's just always bullshit, and it ruins your day." You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Because they're consuming.
I think we're thinking about the same person.
They're consuming so much negative, low vibrational shit that you know what I mean. Like that they have now become a host to the dark energies via dark technology. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting.
There's a story in the Bible where the first king that Israel has, he's given over to an evil spirit, and so David becomes his harp player, and that like keeps off the evil spirit. And then like harp is just all vibrations.
Yeah.
It's just all sound vibrations, but it actually will keep that evil spirit at bay. So
Note to self: get a harp for your home.
He's chasing him, trying to like stab him with a spear or something, and he just runs over to the harp and he starts playing it, and he just like comes to his senses. Like
hymns. What is a hymn?
It's just some serious vibration action.
Some vibrations, singing, praying, putting out the positive energy with vibrations. What is the bowl? The I forget what the bowl's called.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The like sound bowl or whatever.
It's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's all the same stuff. I think that the tribalism, right? The left and the right, the red and the blue, or the Christian versus the Muslim, whatever the tribal thing is, especially when it comes to this kind of shit, I think it doesn't matter, right? I think that you can believe in God, and that image in your mind of what God is could be 1,000 different things. But as long as you're having like the general concept of like this is some high vibrational shit, like this is some positive energy I'm putting out, like that, you're good. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily, and again, people will disagree with me who are like devout in whatever religion, but I don't necessarily think you have to prescribe to any one organized religion. I think you just have to understand and believe the concept of what a religion is, or what they're teaching, I guess.
We shall find out one day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, people will disagree with me and they'll say, "Oh, you have to believe this one or the other in order to make it." And maybe they're right.
I mean, I see what you're saying. Like, it is interesting how no matter what you believe in, whether it's this religion, that religion, vibrations, sound waves, peace, love, hate, like it's all the same idea, different name.
Which makes it hard, especially for a conspiracy podcast, when you start talking about dark technology, Lucifer's technology, or whenever I talk about like, they're doing like satanic shit. It turns people off who aren't religious because they're not. They immediately hear that and they're like, "Oh, here we go. We're gonna get on to some preaching stuff," And it's like, it's just easy for me personally because I grew up with a religious background to equate things to that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's interesting how a lot of these conspiracy theories do kind of correlate with things that are in the Bible or in different religions and beliefs. Like, it's pretty interesting.
We're getting into an age where now even the people that don't subscribe to religion, they've made their own in science.
Right,
so
new
science and anti-science.
Exactly, yeah.
And so it's like,
the new
your idea of that higher, like elevation of your own intellect with science, and then you got.
It's the same idea.
Yeah, and it's always looked in as evil when you're anti-science.
Scientism.
So they have their own evil now.
Yeah.
Scientism, in my personal opinion, is the true Satanism, right? Scientism is Satanism.
That's big.
I don't know. That just came to me right now. Channeling some shit, right? No,
Hashtag.
no, because you think about it, man. Like, what are they doing with the
Podcast title.
what is the nanotech for?
Mm-hmm.
Like, give me one good reason for nanotech other than defense. Like, if you took out of the equation that other countries are developing nanotech to fuck us up, if you just let's just say that was off the table. Outside of defense, give me one good reason why you would develop nanotech knowing the potential dangers of nanotech. You wouldn't. And that goes for a whole long list of shit that I already listed out here a minute ago, right? All those things. They would not do those things.
Yeah.
Unless there was some negative entity.
The second you introduced the human element into it, you just took any good, you just introduced a whole world of bad in there. And then you got the hosts who are running the whole show with the technology.
I think that that's a farce, man. I think that that's a big psyop. I think that's probably one of the biggest psyops of humanity, dude. The fact that, well, that's just what humans are, man. Humans are fucked up, right? Like, leave it to humans, right? Like, I think that is a psyop, dude. I feel like the fact that we trash okay, a lot of people know about this. I forget the guy's name. He was growing plants, right? He would water the plants every day, and he would tell this plant, I love you, and this plant, fuck you, or whatever. And the plant that he showed love to grew much better, right? It's the same thing. When people run around and say, oh, they'll leave it to the humans, they're doing the same thing. You're literally putting a negative vibration out into the universe that you're projecting onto humanity. And the more people that do it, the more times that it's done, the more true it becomes. It's casting a spell, right? And it's like, I think that that's the big psyop. The controllers, when they changed history and they manipulated all the sciences and everything and all this stuff, part of it was make everybody think that humans have always been this way. Let's give them history that is nothing but war, destruction, mayhem, slavery, all these things, when in reality, the true human history is actually probably very uplifting and unified and all these things, right? And then when these controllers came in and fucked everything up, they told us, oh, you guys have been doing this shit. Genghis Khan was a dick. Napoleon was a dick. Alexander was a dick. Like, you know what I mean? And we just assume that that's just part of our genetics. It's just to be a dick. And it's like, I don't think that's the case, man. Because when I'm driving around or when I'm out doing shit and I see something bad happen to another human that I've never even seen before, my immediate instinct is to be like, oh shit, are you okay? And I've never seen with my own eyeballs another human completely disregard that unless I could also tell that they were completely consumed by pop culture and shit, right? If you're walking in dark tech, if you fit the bill,
guilty.
If you fit the bill of your, I don't know, everybody knows what the fuck I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm saying? But
they're just not there, dude. They're NPCs.
NPCs, man, the dark ones, bro. You know what I mean? And that's my opinion on it.
Since you brought that up, I was talking about it. Did I say this on the podcast about the plane?
Yeah.
On the podcast, or did I just tell you about it? Did I tell you about the plane? I don't think I said on the podcast.
Say it.
So I was driving because you guys were talking about the NPC.
You can drive?
Yeah.
Just kidding. This is America.
I don't even have to drive anymore because my car
Gonna get banned
knows
joke right
where I
there,
want to
you know?
go. I'm just kidding. You guys were talking about the NPC things, and I was like, you've never experienced that before, where you're just like, oh, this is an NPC or whatever. So no, I've never experienced that before. Not that I've realized, at least, that was even a thing.
So what about the plane?
I was driving down University in a straight line. I'm just driving. And I look up in the sky, and there's a plane. Flies by in front of me. And I drive for a little bit longer, and I look up, and there's a plane in the same spot flying. It happened like 5 times, and it gave me that feeling of like, I'm on repeat. Yeah, like, what is happening right now?
Okay,
it was so weird.
Could have been a glitch. Could have been whatever. Could have been a fake plane. Shit. I mean, I've seen fake planes crash into buildings before.
What? What do you mean? Are you talking about 9/11? I'm like, I thought you were serious for a second. I'm like, okay, what? You never told me that before.
But seriously, no, but
It was honestly
planes
made me feel so weird.
planes travel in corridors, and the airport's right there, so you might
No,
have seen
I
5
know,
different
I
fucking
know.
planes.
Like logically, I've thought about it, but
Yeah.
it was just it gave me that weird feeling
Yeah, I
because it
got
was
you.
like I kept being like looking up, and it was in the same spot, and I was like, what the heck? And then I was sitting outside like a couple days later, and the boys were playing outside, and I see a plane fly and then a bird off the tree. And then like 2 minutes later, a plane fly and a bird flies off the tree. And I was like,
I mean, you might
what
be
is
witnessing
happening?
some kind of weird shit, because I have weird glitches, if you want to call them that. I call them synchronicities, because it's usually when like I'm thinking about a topic, especially doing this, right? Like I'll be researching a topic.
Yeah.
And then literally the next day on my favorite podcast of all time, a dude comes on talking about that topic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did I just and it's not like it happened once or twice. This is like a weekly thing for me now. This doesn't even surprise me anymore. Like this Lucifer's technology thing, right? Like I was talking about that, and then remember when I was saying on the episode last, go watch the newest 2 episodes of these 2 podcasts, because he talks about this thing, but it was tying into what we were talking about last week. You know what I mean? I was researching some shit and it just popped up, and I'm like, and it's not like the advertising thing, because this is like just released today.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy's talking about what you're looking for. So I see synchronicities all the time. You might see glitches all the time. This guy has sleep paralysis. It's all the same shit.
Ew. His is the creepiest though.
You ever see, like, you ever like hum into the body of a guitar?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you hum the right note, that string's gonna vibrate that same note.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that. I mean, that could theoretically happen in the universe
Mm-hmm.
because it's all waves.
Right. If you're in tune with something.
Oh, it's a repeat?
All of a
Yeah.
sudden, no, it's not a repeat, but it's like that string is gonna vibrate with whatever you're vibrating.
Uh-huh.
So if I go, then that thing will right back, and it's not my sound. I'm actually vibrating the string with that sound because it's the same.
So you're saying my wavelength was the same as that plane flying?
No.
Okay. I'm like, are you talking about me or him?
But I could. So you might have been for one split moment on a wavelength that was tied into an alternate timeline that happened to see multiple planes go by,
that
and like this
freaks me
weird
out when you
deja
say that
vu,
stuff.
right? Like that could all.
It was honestly, like I said, I've never experienced what you guys talk about where like this person is like not real or whatever. He's just here to fill space. Never thought that. But it was honestly like one of those things that was like, what is happening right now? Like I feel like I'm like, ooh, ah, plane, ooh, ah, a plane, ooh, ah, a plane. It was just, and it wasn't like, because you see stuff all the time, but you don't ever acknowledge it. You know what I mean? But it was like the feeling in me was weird.
Yeah.
It was strange.
I mean, who knows, man? Who knows?
Weird.
Could have been a glitch. Deja
And
vu.
I'm psychic. So,
Deja vu freaks me out. I get
who
nauseous
knows?
when I have deja vu.
Really?
Yeah. That shit freaks me out, dude.
Dude, I got some
You know what I mean?
Well,
But,
we should definitely talk
But
about that.
so with the human technology and like people just being hosts and stuff like that, it started me thinking about like the Criminal Minds episodes when they look at a thing and they're like, oh, he must be this and he's gonna kill again. It's like they're not.
It's a profile.
It's a profile, but it's like they're almost like that non-playable character where it's like they have no control over it anymore.
Right.
They're completely given into that bad juju, and it's like they're just gonna. They know.
Yeah, I mean,
He's off the rails.
Here's the thing, right? Like we know that there's like what we would call psychopaths out there, right? Like
So
I wouldn't even say schizophrenic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think these are just people that are like kind of like psycho, or they're in higher powers,
Well, let me ask you this.
or they're like the people that are certifiably crazy, schizo, whatever you want to call it?
Both,
like
all
put them in
everything
mental
in between.
hospitals.
I don't
put them
think
on
that
meds.
I don't think that these interdimensional psychic vampires are limited to one particular type of host, right? I think that if you are of a certain type of schizophrenia or something like that, like if you're already suffering from like a mental disorder of some kind, like your
Yeah.
brain's not working the way it should be, right? It's going to be off a weird frequency. That's why you hear
Yeah.
these people, oh, I heard voices, or like they see things that aren't there and things like this. And a lot of doctors and stuff will say, oh, that's just the brain firing this way, and they have
Yeah.
very scientific explanations. There are
It's
other
like you don't
doctors
really
and
know
scientists.
everything.
Yeah, there's other doctors and scientists who hypothesize that they might be tapping into alternate,
Ew.
wavelengths. They might be able to actually observe things that we can't observe. Again, this is where the scientism and science come into play, because we're all going to start hearing this a lot more now, where all of our friends and our peers and family members are going to come to us and be like, the science says. And I believe that all of our first response needs to be, no matter what the argument is, whether it's corona or the flat earth, when somebody comes to you and says, the science says, your response needs to be, what science? Can
Science
you name
schmience.
the scientific study and or paper and or doctor?
Yeah.
Can you name any particular?
No, they can't.
And if they can, great, right? And the point is, there is always another scientist
Yeah.
who is debating that science, and there's not a what's the word I'm looking for? Consensus. There's no scientific consensus. Well, I'm not gonna say there's no scientific consensus. When there is scientific consensus, that's when something could be considered science. That's what peer review is.
Yeah.
When there are half the scientists saying one thing and half of them saying another thing, there is no consensus, and that is not the science. That's your science. It's your pseudoscience.
Yeah.
You are in a religion, and that's what you believe. You understand? So that's what all of our response needs to be when we get hit with that's what the science says. Okay, let's sit down and have a conversation. Show me the science,
Yeah.
and I'll show you my science, and we'll
Yeah.
determine if there's a
And
consensus.
like in reality, most people that are gonna say that didn't
don't.
actually
They're gonna say,
read
"Fauci
anything.
said."
Yeah.
The top level science, that's the other part of the
That
question.
guy.
Give me one scientist or doctor other than Fauci who said that, right?
Fauci does not count.
And that's fine. And if they have the information,
Yeah.
wonderful. Present it to me. Let me read it. And now that I've read it, let me present to you my science, and we can determine if there's consensus.
I heard Bill Nye say.
Bill Nye's not a scientist. Bill Nye's an engineer.
What?
He's also
He's
pretty
not a
good. He's a good
scientist.
TV host. I enjoy Bill Nye's persona. In fact,
Yeah.
the Bill Nye
Used
versus
to
Ken
love
Ham.
watching
Have
that
you
at
seen that?
school.
Yeah.
The Bill Nye versus Ken Ham debate. Now, religious or not, Ken Ham's fucking crazy, bro. I don't care if you're religious. To think that the Earth is only 6,000 years old is a little bit extreme, right? I mean, maybe it could be. I'm one out here arguing that there's fake history and shit, so maybe it is. Could be. But Ken Ham is kind of fucking retarded. But Bill Nye, Ken Ham debate was amazing. Do I like Bill Nye? No, I think he's a scumbag. You know what I mean? Same with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love The Cosmos. That show was amazing. And anytime I see Neil deGrasse Tyson, I was like, oh, let me watch this. He's charismatic. He's entertaining. He knows a lot of shit. However, just look into Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's all I'm going to say. Also, Shaq's a Freemason.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Oh my gosh. All right. I don't know if I had another question. I thought I did, and I can't remember it now.
Well,
So
I hope you're fun. Turn your technology off. Go outside. Enjoy some fresh air.
live your life.
Live your life.
Be one with the world.
Mm-hmm.
Be one with the earth. We should do a.
Or we
I don't know. I was just gonna say we should do like a ASMR episode. Would you guys watch that?
ASMR. Are we just gonna whisper?
Be one with the
No,
world.
we're not doing that.